was stuffy in spite of the cool vitamin air circulating outside. Jungkook vowed to maintain his composure as the director shot down his proposal once again. I understand your concerns, but we cannot compete without innovation. Our contracts are up for renewal. This is the chance to lead the market rather than following. He argued with them. Director Park shook his head. It's as well risky. We'll play it safe and renew as is. Beating back disappointment, Jungkook gathered his papers as CEO carrying the company name his father built weighed heavy. He couldn't let fear imprison their potential. Within the calm of his office, Jungkook rubbed tired eyes. A gentle knock interrupted his terrible thoughts. Come in. You entered in with a tray. I brought your favorite coffee. You seemed stressed after the meeting. Your soft smile eased pressure from Jungkook's shoulder. As always, you see right through me. Steam curled from floral porcelain. You talk gently. You pour your soul into each proposal. However, the refuse is in past numbers. Don't lose hope. Your vision will guide us further. Maybe today they refused, but in the coming days they will agree to this Jungkook, and I will remind them once again that I'm the CEO of this company. He smirked while I looked at him pressing lips together. At once, your positive thinking lifted Jungkook's spirits. In the 3 years since beginning as his secretary, you had become his most trusted confidant, keeping late hours to support his drive for excellence. Though just colleagues, you cared touched Jungkook deeper than he thought, but he never tried to express it. A knock signaled closing time. You gathered empty cups from the table. Thank you for listening. Your words grounded me as always. Jungkook wished the quiet minute would wait. Taking your wool coat, you smiled softly. We knew it, Mr. Jungkook. Their eyes will open in time. The sincerity in your eyes calmed Jungkook's turbulent mind like the steady ebb and flow of the Han River at sunset. As he left, he looked out the city glittering in sundown, reflecting her advice. Weeks passed. Jungkook was discussing with directors about his plans. At every turn, the director shot down Jungkook's plans, expanding overseas, developing new tech, anything remotely audacious. Their stubbornness damaged his patience. One Friday, tensions spilled over during budget discussions. We must invest in AI to future-proof our work. The West is already implementing such frameworks. Jungkook argued furiously. Executive Kim slammed a hand down. Enough, we are too reckless, always overriding prudent decision making. Maybe it's time a more level-headed leader took charge. Jungkook's rage boiled over how to question his authority. Before he might encounter, he calmed himself. Oh really? I'm reckless for thinking about my company. Mistaking you guys might think you're smart. He looked at them, raising his eyebrows as if he found something about them. You sat there thinking what he was going to say because you know it's not easy to calm Jungkook's anger. I already know how much each one of you took from that hunt to stop my company's growth. Did you think I would not know about it just because you all worked with my father? I left it, but I think it's high time to change board members. Miss Ryan, prepare resignation papers. They all started gulping with fear, and also they were regretting their decision to deceive the company who fed them for many years. Jungkook, please forgive us. No, Mr. Kim. I'm reckless and not good in decision making. Just accept this decision for the last time. He smirked and walked out from the meeting room. Jungkook, who became CEO at the young age to his father's company, now he is top leading businessman in the country. But the board members who knew him since he was a kid didn't recognize his potential, even though the world did. He brought 10 times profits to his company than in the past. Once behind closed doors, Jungkook sank into his leather chair, rubbing tense neck muscles. He approached gently. Mr. Jungkook, you're really smart. You pour your passion into each project. That is admirable. Your praise untangled fragile nerves. Looking into caring eyes, Jungkook felt the unbending walls around his heart soften, if only for a moment. But your colleagues, nothing more. Clearing his throat, Jungkook dismissed you warmly, bidding you good night as night fell like a velvet shade. After a week, you walk into the bustling office, your exertion hardly concealed beneath a thin veil of makeup. You had stayed at the office late into the night, slaving away to finish the presentation due that morning. All that work would be wasted if you didn't deliver it on time. Clutching the two coffee mugs firmly, you made your way towards Jungkook's corner office, taking care not to spill the precious liquid. Though your body is exhausted, your devotion to your boss and this company kept you moving forward. Just as you reached Jungkook's cabin door, it flew open with such force that you jumped back in surprise, accidentally splashing a few drops of burning coffee onto your hands. You yelped in pain and dropped the mugs with a crash. What on earth do you think you are doing? Barging in here so carelessly? He growled, glaring down at your cowering form. You bowed your head in shame. I'm so sorry, Mr. Jungkook. I was bringing your coffee like always, but you startled me. I don't care about some spilled coffee. Do you have any idea what time it is? Our executives meeting started 15 minutes ago and you weren't there. Jungkook's voice rose to near shout, causing a few colleagues to pop their heads out of their cubicles curiously. You felt tears forming in your eyes but refused to let them drop in front of your boss. I worked late into the night to finish the proposal for the Johnson account. I must have lost track of time. Well, your proposal doesn't matter now because without my secretary, the waited minutes, the whole meeting was a waste. You have really screwed up this time. He paced back and forth, transmitting anger. I'm so sorry, you whispered, your voice trembling. It was a genuine mistake. Please don't be too hard on me. I have served you faithfully for 3 years. Faithfully, huh? He scoffed. In the event that usually what you call faithful service, then maybe it's time I found someone more reliable. Consider yourself on probation. One more slip up and you're out of here. With that, he spun on his heel and stormed back into his office, slamming the door behind him hard enough to shake the walls. You sank to your knees among the puddle of coffee, hot tears now flowing freely as you wept quietly. Over in the desk areas, whispers had broken up amongst your colleagues upon witnessing the incident. While some felt sorry for your situation, others gossiped accusingly, guessing what mistake could have irritated their cold CEO who is like ice. None of them knew the true extent of your efforts or the late nights you poured into your work. To Jungkook, he was just another disposable employee rather than a person with feelings who strived for his endorsement. But today, something inside you broke. You realized your CEO may not see your loyalty at all. Over the next week, you maintained a polite but strictly professional demeanor around Jungkook. You arrived early each morning with his coffee, not questioning when he snatched it from your hands. During meetings, you sat silently taking notes without talking about your usual conversations. Jungkook noticed the change but assumed you need time to calm down after your argument. However, as the days passed with no signs of your anger scattering, he grew irritable. Your cheerful greetings and smiles were absent, replaced by a respectful lack of interest. One evening, as the workday was ending, Jungkook found you wrapping up in your cabin. I'm leaving for the day. Make sure everything is locked up properly, he said sternly. Have a great evening, Mr. Jungkook, you replied without looking up from your keyboard. I frowned. Ryan, aren't you forgetting something? I always give you a ride home. He stood, meeting his gaze politely. Thank you for the offer, but I think I will take the bus nowadays. Good night. You grabbed your handbag and left without another word. Jungkook stared after your disappearing figure, confused. This was new. You never turned down his rides before. He told himself it was better this way, not wanting to be bothered. But that night, alone in his quiet car, he felt oddly unsettled. The next day, he called you into his office. I need to know what's going on with you, Wine. Explain this unusual behavior at once, he requested, noticing the dark circles under your eyes. You clasped your hands in your lap. There is no unusual behavior, Mr. Jungkook. I'm simply focusing on my work as I always done. Don't lie to me, he said. You have been acting odd all week. Is this about what happened before? I already apologized for losing my temper on that day. You looked at him steadily. With respect, Mr. Jungkook, one apology does not fix the hurt of your words. For 3 years, I have worked hard under your authority, staying late to ensure this company's success. But that day, when I made a simple mistake after endless nights of dedication, you responded with anger rather than understanding. Jungkook said nothing, realizing you spoke the truth. Your daily sacrifices for the work had been taken for granted all this time. You continued, as your employee, I will continue performing my duties to best of my ability. But in our personal relationship, I need space to process what happened. Your outburst damaged the trust I had in you. Your calm explanation gave him pause. He realized how rudely he treated someone who did so much for him without much appreciation or recognition. Clearing his throat awkwardly, Jungkook said, You're right, I didn't consider your efforts and jump to conclusions. I should have been more thoughtful as your boss. I apologize. A little smile returned to your lips upon hearing his sincere words. Maybe with time and patience, the careful bond you both built could heal. But for now, time alone was what you needed most. Within the following weeks, Jungkook made conscious attempts to repair the fracture between himself and you. Each morning when you brought him coffee, he thanked you with a polite note rather than harsh demands. Slowly, you warmed up to his changes. On late nights when overtime was needed, Jungkook remained at the office, helping you workload, paperwork, and phone calls. Over a freshly brewed pot, you discussed projects in calm voices rather than strained whispers. One evening, you remained absorbed in reports long after the others left. Jungkook approached your cabin, placing a new coffee mug next to your tired hands. The proposals look great, but it's getting late. You should rest. Just a little longer, you mumbled, blinking dimly at the blurring words. Jungkook smiled softly. I demand I will finish up here while you go home. His strange kindness moved you. Thank you, sir. You have been very considerate these past weeks. I appreciate your efforts to rebuild our working relationship. It's the least I can do after how poorly I treated you before. You didn't deserve such disrespect, especially not after dedicating so much to the company. Jungkook sighed. I want you to know you have my greatest respect, Ryan, both as my secretary and as a person, deserving of my care and love. I hope that in time you will find it in your heart to fully forgive me. You looked at him with new eyes, seeing past harsh facets to the kindness inside, and also surprised about his one word. With patience and understanding on both sides, I believe wounds can heal. Jungkook smiled, relief warming him. Your bond was repairing bit by bit through openness and effort. More talks like this one day strengthen broken trust, rebuilding between you. A couple of days later, the Johnson proposal was approved, winning the company a profitable new client. Jungkook called you into his office, beaming proudly. This victory is much appreciated by your endless work. I want to honor your success. Let me take you to dinner to celebrate. You blushed. You don't have to do that, sir. Would you deny if I say I'm asking you for dinner, Mr. Jungkook? You are surprised. I think we are past such formal titles between us now. Just call me Jungkook. He looked at him softly. Then you must call me by my name as well, Jungkook. A warm breeze of change was blowing through the corridors of your office, stirring fond emotions neither thought possible before. Would you mind if I call you sweetheart? Your cheeks turned pink when he was looking at you with intense gaze. He was walking to you slowly, not taking his eyes off of you while you're stepping back. You were looking into his eyes deeply, which raising your stable heart. You startled a little when you hit the wall, and now you don't have space to move. He slowly lifted your head up by cupping your face and looked into your eyes. He asked you, nodding his head, whether to proceed further or not, as he wanted your permission. He pressed his lips on yours when you gave him a small nod, which was enough to know your feelings towards him. That was the first kiss you both had ever shared, which will remain as a memory for the lifetime. Thank you for watching.